Some very interesting developments happening in the Tory civil war today, almost planned in many ways, literally in the space of an hour. And it all started with the initial reportings coming out that Suella Braverman's campaign for Tory leadership was dead in the water. Now, that's kind of interesting because if you look at the bookies who people have been sort of predicting, who's going to throw their hat in the ring, Suella Braverman is absolutely one of the candidates people are listing. Absolutely one of them. And now they're coming out and saying everything they can against Suella Braverman. Supposedly one of the big reasons why is that she's had a key ally in this come out and say, I'm not going to back you. Now, we don't know who they're going to go back. They might maybe go back Kimmy Badenoch. Just there's a rumor going around at the moment. And again, it's all rumors that Badenoch is going to be the Unite the Right candidate. So that may be a case. That might be why. But because of this, almost instantly, Suella Braverman has now come out swinging against Robert Jenrick, someone else we did a video yesterday on his what went wrong. So we are getting our, I think, first serious blue on blue incident of Braverman versus Jenrick. And I haven't seen Jenrick respond to this yet. Whether he does respond or not, who knows? But Braverman is certainly saying that Jenrick is part of the reason why we lost. Like, Jenrick was the type of MP who lost us this general election. That's why we lost so bad. So, yeah, things are very, very heating up, possibly quite quickly. We'll see how this develops. But from what we've also been seeing as well, Braverman's leadership campaign might be DOA. Could very, very easily be completely DOA. So we'll see what happens in the leadership contest when it happens, if she can get the nominations, if she's even in the race. Is she one of the first dropouts of this? We wait to see, of course, what will happen in the Tory leadership contest. But like I say, this is just, shall we say, the prelude to such a contest. And of course, you're going to get the contest itself, the aftermath of that contest. Still, as I've talked about, the Farage phase. And of course, can they actually be seriously honest about their failings for the past 14 years? So far, I say no. But hey, who knows what stepping stones documents we're going to get in the next maybe couple of weeks, months. So we'll see what happens. But before we do go getting into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, the One Off Donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there is the Pony Club down below as well. So let's crack on into this then, shall we? This being reported in the Telegraph. Suella Braverman claims Tory rival Robert Jenrick is on the, quote, left of the party. So, former Home Secretary portrays now potential leadership contender as pro-Europe on Brexit, as she says to, as she calls now to abandon liberal conservatism. So this is her clarion call for what she's certainly going to go for. Oh, and by the way, for those who are asking, have you done a Suella Braverman what went wrong? Yeah, we've already done it. She did that the day before the general election took place, saying, we've already lost, guys. This is why we're going to lose. So she's already done her piece. Suella Braverman has now described her rival Robert Jenrick as a, quote, centrist Rishi supporter and a Remainer on the left of the party, as the pair jostled ahead of the Conservative leadership race. Oof. So according to Braverman so far, Jenrick is pro-European on Brexit, is a liberal conservative, and he's a Rishi supporter on the left of the party. Yeah, this is going to get very, very interesting. Anyway, the former secretary set out her stall in a speech in Washington on Monday, in which she called for the Conservatives to provide a credible offer to reform UK voters and abandon liberal conservatism under Rishi Sunak. No candidates have yet announced they're running for the leadership, but Braverman and Jenrick and several other Tory MPs are expected to compete for Sunak's job when he stands down later this year. Over the weekend, and this is what we've seen. Yeah, so this is it. One of Braverman's key allies, Danny Kruger, decided to support Mr. Jenrick in a move that has now left her very embryonic campaign described as dead before it starts. So she has lost a key ally. She's lost Danny Kruger. And bear in mind, we are hearing already, they are very, very clearly, jostling for horses, seeing how many people they can get to support them. That is what is going on in the background right now. The idea that they are, quote, going to be a credible opposition from day one, oh no. They are going to be very, very heavily jostling for support. And even then, bear in mind, what do you do about the problem of people like Braverman in your party? Because they lost. One of the things that I don't think too many people really realized yet, they lost a lot of Tory centrists. They lost a lot of Tory centrists in the in the election, and there's still a lot of right wingers there. So that has very, very much weakened much of the the Tory centrist vote in the party itself. But we'll have to see how this really plays out on this. However, when she was speaking to the Telegraph, Braverman did hit back, arguing that it was, quote, great that Jenrick resisted. That Jenrick represented a very different wing of the party, as he sought to portray himself as very pro-Europe on Brexit and the European Convention of Human Rights. He definitely comes from the left of the party, she said. He voted for Remain in the Brexit referendum. He was a big kind of centrist Rishi supporter. I remember him talking about leaving the RC over a year ago and him looking absolutely horrified by that prospect. Is he going to be really good for moving in that direction? Braverman then described Jenrick as a centrist Rishi supporter in a nod to a hardline stance on migration and the European Court. She said, "Wasn't it wasn't the story that he was sent by Rishi to keep an eye on me in the Home Office?" Question mark. Braverman said that she hoped the leadership contenders would, quote unquote, conduct ourselves with an attitude of amiable and friendly during the contest, saying, at the end of the day, whoever is leader, we will have to work together. Well, you've already set the tone, Suella. I don't think you've realized that if you want a amicable and friendly contest, it's going to be anything but. The actual Tory leadership contest is going to be anything but. And the idea that Braverman is already coming out and saying, he's a Remainer Brexit supporter. He's a he wants to stay in the European Court of Human Rights. And Rishi even sent him to keep an eye on me. Does this set a amicable and friendly atmosphere for this contest? No, it absolutely doesn't. And long may that continue, because oh boy, that leadership contest is going to be brutal. The one where Rishi got elected by a unanimous vote, that was very brutal, especially against Boris Johnson. For him to sort of not win. The one before that, very, very brutal, very, very messy. This one is going to be even more messier. Even more messy when it all comes to it. Mr. Jenrick did obviously campaign to remain in the EU in 2016, but has since now called for Britain to leave the European Court of Human Rights. He resigned from his post as an immigration minister back in December, claiming the government's proposed Rwanda bill did not go far enough. When appeared on the BBC with Laura Kuenssberg programme at the weekend, he said the Conservatives had lost the election fundamentally because we failed to deliver on the promises that we made to the British public, as we just went through yesterday. So like I say, go watch that video. He declined to rule out standing for the party leadership when Mr. Sunak steps down, which is expected to happen before the autumn. Um, so I think it just goes on to say, yeah, other potential contenders, just so you know them, we've been through these before. Kemi Badnoch, Tom Tugendhat, Priti Patel, Victoria Atkins, all former cabinet ministers, all suggested that they might go for the run. It is going to be really brutal. I think at the moment it is very, very likely to be Kemi Badnoch. I don't think it's going to be Suella Braverman. If you are hearing, as we said, the rumors that her campaign is completely DOA, that's it for her. This now means that if Kemi Badnoch can see off Priti Patel, or Priti Patel decides to not run, this potentially probably becomes a two-horse race between Kemi Badnoch and Tom Tugendhat. We'll see what happens. But even in the event of Kemi or Tom sort of winning the contest, they're still going to have a lot of problems within the party that they're going to have to deal with and answer a lot of very deep and searching questions. Kemi Badnoch certainly isn't going to answer or even seriously challenge those questions, those concerns. She's going to have to take a lot of stances and say, what future Conservative policy potentially is going to be, and what does she do then to people like Suella Braverman, who vehemently disagree with her, who are going to challenge her on everything they said. Because trust me, just because you elect a new leader does not mean the infighting will stop. If anything, it will get even worse. Even Tom Tugendhat, anyone who gets in has to really demonstrate that they can deal with the troublemakers, and they're going to have to throw them out. And even when they do throw them out, there's still going to be a very, very big uproar about that. So it's going to be very, very interesting on this, what happens. Anyway, so it continues. While some have suggested the Conservatives did drift too far right since 2019, Braverman said on Monday that the party should offer more to voters who chose Nigel Farage's party, saying that reform aren't going to magically vanish unless we do something about the concerns of their voters. He told the National Conservative Conference in Washington. Bear in mind, last time she was here and last time it was in the UK, she actually made a genuine leadership bid, saying she was going to be the next, Tory leader. Did Sunak do anything about what she said there? Oh, absolutely not. And when a Conservative goes off and does something like this in the future, be it Kemi or Tom Tugendhat, they've got to rein these people in. And it's how well do they do that? How well do they rein these people in? But we'll see. So her pitch obviously set it up as the most right-wing leadership contender. She said the Tories should be, quote, unashamedly be champions of the family, traditional culture specific to our nation. By the way, wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if like, say, Kimmy or Tom do win and they end up throwing her out of the party? I can guarantee you now she's going to end up flipping to reform. And I have to wonder at what point does she maybe try to take some other people with her? Could be interesting to see. Anyway, she said that we must now fight to protect our national culture, which is precious because it unifies us and allows us to be at home in our national home. She said, well, that's not some incredibly, fascist rhetoric there, Braverman. She said to the Telegraph that Sunak was, quote, a nice guy and a, quote, good dad who worked hard but had, quote, led a very disastrous election campaign and got things wrong as the Prime Minister. She also back calls the party members to have a vote in the contest, pointing out that it was MPs who chose Sunak to replace Liz Truss back in October. So she definitely wants it to go to a members' vote. Why? Because one thing the Conservatives have never worried about, which is something a future leader is going to have to sort of address at some point. They're all really going to have to address this. You have had that's where the Conservative MPs have been, but the actual membership has been further right. And over time, this has dragged and dragged further on until you get the party putting forward people like Braverman, without even realizing how far they've gone. And this is, again, what has caused the party to fragment. But you've got to address why your party membership has drifted so far to the right and keeps on drifting even farther to the right. It is going to be something that someone at some point is have to do. But I'll tell you what, Badnock and Tugendhat, if they do win, they ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. But we'll see. Declining to confirm she was running for leadership. Just do it, Suella. Just do it. Get out now and say, I am running for leadership, please, because that will be hilarious. She says, I'm having lots of conversations with colleagues. I'm very encouraged by this conversation and very flattered by the positive feedback from colleagues. There is no rush to make an announcement. And of course, I think we will just need to have lots of meaningful conversations first. Yeah, meaningful conversation, coming out and attacking someone who is going to be an absolute rival to you in your, leadership bid. Perfect way to have, an amicable and friendly contest, right? Right. Oh, friends, this is going to get brutal. This is going to get brutal, and we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you what, if these rumors are true that her leadership campaign is completely DOA, dead on arrival, who else is going to back her? Who else is going to sort of back her? But we'll see. And then, of course, let's say Jenrick gets in with his whole, we were too far to the left, but we were also too far to the right. Okay, which way then do you go, Jenrick? Like which way do you go? Because you've got to pick a direction. Otherwise, guess what? You've just elected another Rishi Sunak who's going to have to face the exact same problems. And I don't think Jenrick is going to be able to solve them either. He's going to sort of be facing more internal party turmoil. So this can only just get more fun and more stupid as this whole civil war unravels. But yes, good to see some classic blue on blue there. But anyway, of course, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.